I'm Chloe.
And I'm Cosette. And this is the 14 Steps Away podcast.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the 14 Steps Away podcast.
So true. We love her.
We love her.
Do we have anything to update our wonderful listeners on this week?
I have, Valentine's Day.
True.
We could talk Valentine's Day, but I also have the what's it called? Not an update, but like a pop culture situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So for Valentine's Day, well, we did our little Valentine's Day thing early for us. And then for Valentine's Day, like with me and Justin, we went to Virago in Nashville. We usually go to Kane Prime because we got engaged 2 days before Valentine's Day. And so that's just been our thing, is kind of celebrating both holidays together, like at the same time. And we usually do Kane Prime, but they were booked up like a month out. So we did Virago. I personally was not the biggest fan. Maybe I'm a hater. Maybe I'm not good with authentic food. Not sure. But I didn't super enjoy it. We got 4 different things. So I tried 4 different things, and only a couple of them I thought were like manageable. I really just didn't love it.
Manageable is so rough.
I guess the only pro is that it was cheaper than Kane Prime. So at the very least, I didn't pay all that, or we didn't pay all that, and then it not be like,
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a bit cheaper, but completely different. But I did get a Cosmopolitan, and because I started watching Sex and the City probably literally since last week, because I just needed a little girl show to watch, and I've been obsessed with it. So I got a Cosmopolitan for our girl Carrie, and it was okay. I think it would be better elsewhere. Sorry, maybe I'm just a Virago hater, but I mean, we had a good date night. I just was not in love with the food, but the place was pretty cool, and I don't know, we didn't do anything crazy, but it was good. I had Justin a little present when he got up with a little balloon, so that was cute of me.
Of me. So cute of me. I worked all day on Valentine's Day, which was, as you can imagine, so awesome.
Yeah.
And I got home, and I really wasn't expecting much. I was expecting something, but like not much, because me and Adam usually just do like kind of just chill stuff. We don't ever like go and do like a huge, I don't know, we just don't make a huge deal of it. I guess because we have so many other things we celebrate all the time. But we usually just do like, it's the normal stuff, like a card, flowers, whatever.
Yeah.
But I came home from work, and he said, close your eyes. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the room and set your stuff up, because I was at work all day, obviously. And so I set all his stuff up. And I had been knitting him a sweater for Valentine's Day, and I had just finished it at 3 a.m. the night before Valentine's Day. And so I was like, okay, I have to like put it in his little basket, whatever. Anyway, I got home and I set that up. And I like walked out, and I brought him his stuff while he had his stuff set up for me. And it was so sweet, because I just didn't expect any of it at all. Literally I had seen, not that this matters, but like I just love presents.
Yeah.
And whenever I had seen a TikTok that morning of someone being like, came downstairs on Valentine's Day, and there was like an Aritzia bag and like flowers and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine coming home and Adam picked me something from Aritzia. Like, he would not think to do that, like not in a like, and I'm not in a judgmental way, not like, oh, I wish he would, just like, oh, he wouldn't think to do that because like he's a man.
Yeah.
And I came home, and there was an Aritzia bag on the counter, and I was like, hello, what? And I was like, okay, so we are getting married. Love is real.
Love is true.
And also Free People had like the little Valentine's Day special bags, and I didn't have any reason to buy anything from Free People, so I was just like, man, I wish I was in the market for something from Free People right now, because I want their little Valentine's Day bag. And he also got me something from Free People, so I did also get the Valentine's Day bag, and I was really happy about that. We also both got each other Valentine's Day cards with pugs on them.
Perfect.
Which was perfect, obviously, and so exciting. And then the next day, to like celebrate Valentine's Day, we went and tried on wedding bands. We did a wedding cake tasting. Just kind of had a fun little day. Adam found his wedding band. I am still undecided on mine, just because I am cheap a little bit. So I'm trying to decide. I'm okay with spending X amount of money for the one that he wants.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't already have an engagement ring. So it is harder. I also know that I'm going to want to like add to my stack. So I'm trying to like see what makes the most sense for
Mhm.
right now. But yeah, so we did that. Did a Publix cake tasting. Came home, hung out with the dog, and yeah, that was that.
Amazing.
I think we started Love Is Blind. I don't even know. That was Valentine's Day, I guess.
Yeah. I guess I don't have anything. I have just been chilling. For those that are our regular listeners, you know that I quit my job. So I have been soaking in my time off while also balancing my enjoying it with a non-reasonable amount of anxiety about needing a job. But I have been really productive. Well, I could be more productive, but as far as like the line between like relaxing and soaking it in and also being productive. So like I consider my days like hanging out with you is still productive because it's
Mhm.
like we're hanging out. So, and then when I'm not doing that, I've done like going through stuff, cleaning stuff out, all of that. So, my days have been looking different lately, but hopefully they'll look different again soon.
It
But
is kind of good though, because you do have a lot of more time to like you said, clean things out,
yeah.
organize, sell things, get rid of things,
Yeah,
whatever.
it has been really nice like going through everything, but I don't know. And we are moving in like 20 something days. And I found what couch I think we're going to get. And I'm really excited because it's super fun. And we have a boring, ugly gray couch. If you have been listening since we were doing video as well, then you know that my couch is ugly and stupid. I'm my couch's biggest hater.
You hate your couch?
I hate my couch.
Wow. No one hates their couch more than I hate my couch.
I hate my couch.
Me and Adam
Yeah.
talk daily about how we hate our couch. We'll just be sitting on it and be like, I hate this freaking couch.
It's good. There are definitely pros and cons to our couch. It's huge. It's comfy. It's soft. It hides dog hair very well. There are pros, but ultimately, it's millennial gray, and that's the biggest con. And the other one is like it while it hides dog hair, it also like is a magnet to it basically. So it just kind of bugs me. I feel like it's dirty all the time just because it's covered in hair. But we will hopefully get her sold soon and get a new couch once we move. And I'm really excited about the whole like designing era of making a fun little setup.
A new space.
But I will say on the topic, I have been, like I told you, I think, that I've been on New York City like apartment search TikTok.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot of people like I don't know if it's in the comments or like the creator addresses it, but basically people talking about like how apartment safety is so important because in something like a city like that, it's I don't know, you just don't want to give too much away. And obviously
Yeah.
people know like not to give their address away or like most people have the common sense I think
Most people know.
to do that. But like even people doing tours like I've noticed that a lot of people like I don't know are I guess commenting on apartment reveals and saying like, "Hey, just like be super careful like about showing this much because like floor plans can be super recognizable or like the view out your window can be super recognizable." And like even someone was talking like they were telling a story and they said something about how like they lived on the 40th floor and it's like someone commented and was like, "Hey, like be super aware not to give out even a number like that. You might think it's not a big deal. You didn't say your neighborhood or anything, but like you saying 40th floor, I immediately clocked like where you were at. And like that's from a girly, like you should just be careful around like creepy men or whatever. Like just
Yeah.
don't give that information out."
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of like freaked out. Not really, but like I want to be able to like make my silly little videos and like really lean into like decorating a new apartment and that niche and the fun that is like a new beginning like that. And I feel like our apartment windows are very, very recognizable because there's like a bay window. I don't know
I feel like you could. I feel like it'd be fine, especially given that,
how big it is.
yeah, and just like also the fact that, I mean, no one, I don't know.
I don't know. I know it's like a bigger thing, obviously, for people that like aren't famous. And so I don't know. It's more of a hoping
yeah,
for the
yeah,
fame
yeah.
that it's like, okay, well, I gave too much away when I didn't have followers and now I do. Manifesting it. But anyway, I don't know. That was just something that I was thinking of. Like, I
Yeah.
want to do the whole like decorate my apartment with me and like all the fun stuff with that. But I guess I'll have to also try to be very
Be
conscious
aware.
because
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to be very safe and conscious, but still, that was a side of it I hadn't thought of, I guess, is like how something like that could be so noticeable if the wrong people are paying attention.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. On topic, I have been wanting to get rid of everything I own in my apartment. I feel like I have mentioned this over and over again. But I really, 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 really want to get rid of things. And every time me and Adam go like to Home Goods or anything, we're like, this rug is really cool, or these bar stools are really cool, or these accent chairs are really cool. And I'm like, I just take pictures of everything so I can like remember what I do like when I eventually do that like time comes. But like I want to get rid of our couch. I want to get rid of our chair in our living room. I want to get rid of our bar stools. I want to get rid of our coffee tables or Adam restain them or whatever. I want to get rid of everything. Everything.
Yeah.
So
The only furniture that I feel like I'm like in love with that I bought a while ago is my side table from Urban that I
Mhm.
love, that I actually got at the like, I don't know, the discounted warehouse store. And then my bed. And I guess like honestly my bedroom furniture I do still really, really love, but like everything out here really in the living room I really do despise.
Yeah.
I just want more fun.
Yeah.
And I think about like how long we are here and I'm like thinking of all the things I want to do to like make our new apartment feel like lived in and like home and all of that. And I'm like, what stopped me from doing those here? Is I guess I just didn't see, not that I didn't see the value in it. I guess maybe it just wasn't as important to me. It was just like clean is fine. You know, clean, put together,
Yeah.
good enough. But I'm like, why did I not like make this more like a
Well,
home?
I think you did in a sense of you were just focused on different things. Like realistically,
Yeah.
all your bedroom stuff is basically like newer, I
Yeah, that's
feel,
true.
than like
And it's like this is like a luxury apartment. So it's
Yeah.
like the way it's just different, I think, that I'm not going to make this I feel like more eclectic. I'll lean into the newness and the cleanness and the luxury of it. But I don't know. It just makes me feel silly where I'm like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this. I'm like, why didn't I just do that already?
Yeah.
But
All
pop
right.
culture.
Should we get into the big drama of the week?
Ooh, I forgot what it was and now I just remembered.
Yeah.
I wasted so much time. We should have talked about this first.
No, because we have a lot to discuss on this topic. So I think that we will. Avery Woods
Yep.
and the podcast episode that she had with Harry Jowsey as her guest.
Mm-hmm.
What's a little recap? Recap is that I watched most of the podcast episode, but it was a tough listen.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of reasons, I guess. I will say that I guess the issue that people are having is it crossed a lot of borders from these people's perspective. It crossed a lot of borders as far as her marriage is concerned and revealing personal details, or one, revealing personal details, two, kind of disrespecting her marriage when she's like flirting with him or making jokes or whatever. Disrespecting other people's religion.
Yep.
And that's the big one.
That's
I think
big one.
disrespect and making, I don't know what words you can say, I guess, but I guess making sexual assault
vulgar
jokes against
it was just weird,
blasphemy, that kind of thing, like sacrilegious stuff, I guess. So I hate to use big words like that, but at the same time,
it's
is
really
like,
weird. Like
it's
not
quite
an exaggeration.
strange.
This was like a very, very weird listen, and I didn't listen to
Yeah.
the whole thing. I just went in
Yeah,
and
yeah.
listened to like it on TikTok. But I
Me
was like,
too.
for real, this conversation happened, and
I
she
did
aired
listen
it.
to most of it because listen, I do like Avery Woods, and I do like her podcast typically. I think that, which I haven't listened to it, I guess, since she's signed to Unwell. That's, I think, what people are getting upset about, is that her content has changed a lot, like the podcast specifically. Because I listened to several podcast episodes in the past, and they were all very normal. Just like, she's cracking jokes, but like normal jokes. Like, just like, I don't know, it's not anything out of the ordinary. Like, she's always been a little bit vulgar, but not like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was just normal. Like, probably on the same, I'd say previously it was probably on the same level, a little bit more tame than Ken Urich, I would say, was her podcast.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was pretty normal. for what it was. And then this episode was very different. So I think I made little bullet points on what specific, so we can dive into each of them. The first one is, oh gosh, there's so many. The first one is disrespecting her husband and their marriage.
Yeah.
I felt like the mommy MILF jokes over and over and over again were a tad much. Like, oh, I'm just a MILF. And then at the end being like, obviously I'm married, but like
that was so weird. The end was like
the last question or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if I wasn't, would you? And
Yeah.
he's like, yes. And so yeah, I'm not a Harry Jowsey defender, but I will say it was evident to me that he was uncomfortable at several points during this podcast. I think that he has tried to alter the public's perception of him, because after he was on Too Hot to Handle, everybody hated him. And after what happened with Riley Arnold, everyone hated him. There were so many things, so many ways where he has tried to redeem himself, like even going on Dancing with the Stars and being as sweet with Riley as he was. I think that was for him trying to redeem himself and show the public that he is not like a crappy guy.
Yeah.
There's no telling. He could be a crappy guy. I don't know. But I'm just saying, it seems like he was a little bit uncomfortable by how vulgar it was, given that she is married, has children old enough to watch the podcast.
Yeah.
Or listen to it. Yeah, so that was weird. But just a lot of things. Like I said, the MILF comments, and we'll get into this comment again, but the I'm pristine down there, I've had C-sections, that comment, oof, also weird to say. It's just like
very weird.
It was just really, really weird to like, I don't know. She kept saying like, love my husband, love him, but it felt like either she wanted, I don't want to make a conspiracy theory, but it felt like she wanted a third. It felt like she wanted Harry to be the third.
That. That is definitely what it felt like, that it was, just things you would not say in a normal committed relationship.
If your husband was sitting next to you, would you say these things?
Exactly. But like, it's going, he will see it. The public will see it. His friends will see it. His family will see it. Like, I just don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really weird.
Yeah.
On the C-section pristine comment, that is another thing people had an issue with, because they're saying like it's really wrong of her as a woman to insinuate that someone who has had
a vaginal
birth is not pristine, quote unquote, down there, or that it's just it perpetuates the false narrative that people have always perpetuated, that like once you have, you give birth, that it's not the same or whatever. And like, I'm sure that there are so many things about your body that do change after you give birth, but like realistically,
it doesn't need to be judged.
And the science and the whatever, it's like, it's not having a C-section versus vaginal birth. It's not like you're not less valuable in that way. I don't know. It just felt really weird for her to say that to me.
Sure.
I thought that was strange. Did you have anything to say about any of that?
I didn't really. I should have taken notes, but it was kind of things that I wouldn't relay, I guess. If I took notes on the quotes that she said, I wouldn't relay them on here. No. Like, I personally wouldn't say them, so I didn't keep anything, like, notes-wise. It was just insane. And, yeah, I definitely think that that's a super strange comment to make. It all just comes back to, like, making those comments while you're married, and, like, this man knows you're married, so that's uncomfortable. It's weird that you're doing it, uncomfortable for him. It's just, I just don't understand it.
Yeah. On another way, what to say. Another thing, I guess, about the disrespecting her husband was whenever she asked Harry, she asks him like what's something that he's like into that's really weird or whatever, and he's like not comfortable, doesn't want to tell her.
Yes.
And so then she says, oh well, I'll tell you one of mine, but she tells something about her husband, not about her. Like, obviously she's participating in it, but it is and then they harp on it for a long amount of time.
He clearly didn't want to answer that because it was a weird question.
He didn't want to answer that because it was a weird question. And then when she told the thing that she and her husband are into, I'm like, is your husband okay with you talking about this in great detail? Like, because
is your husband okay with any of the things you've said?
Like, what you're saying in great detail on the internet forever, like talking about his interests in the bedroom, and also talking about what you do to make those interests, I don't know, whatever. So I thought that was wildly inappropriate. I also thought that her answer and the thing that they are into is obviously something that he is not into,
Yeah.
and he is grossed out by,
Yeah,
frankly.
yeah.
And so why are you harping on it?
For sure.
It
You
feels like
can-
you're trying to convince him he should try it when he's already like, I'm not really into that. That's the one thing I'm not really into. Sorry. And then you just keep talking about it. And it felt like she was trying to like act like the cool girl who's like, it felt pick me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Very the whole section that I watched was
The whole podcast
the very
episode was
descriptive as pick me, yeah.
which was interesting because he was not playing into it really. I mean, I guess towards the end he got a little more comfortable, but like he was uncomfortable. It feels he was joking around with her because I don't think he wanted to embarrass her, and I don't think he wanted to like. Make
it's like
her
you're
feel bad.
there, you're
like
like getting recorded right now.
It felt very pick me for sure, but it felt very like I can't think of the word. Desperate.
Yes,
That sounds so awful, but like that is how it came off.
Yeah,
it did
did.
not come off good.
No,
and it shouldn't have. Quite
no,
frankly.
no.
What else? What else?
The religion stuff.
I wanted to get into the religion stuff, but my my opinions on it are split.
Yeah,
I'd say
Okay.
because okay, well, she makes a joke about how basically the information is that she's like, well, I get all these hate comments from all these women who claim that they're Christians, and Christians happen to be the most hateful people. All of my hate comments come from people who in their bio it's like a Bible verse
yeah.
and whatever, so it's hypocritical. And then she makes a joke about Jesus sexually assaulting these women.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
Doesn't land.
does not land, which to be fair, I do think she is getting an insane amount of hate given that Harry is not receiving hate at all. And he is the one who said it first. She said it more vulgar, but he said it and brought it up and she ran with it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I don't think that he's just as in the wrong as her. It's her platform and she's saying a lot of crazy things. I think that like she's more in the wrong, but I do think that like we have an issue with calling out women for things and not holding men to the same standard. And I think that is a problem.
Yeah.
So that's something that bothers me
that.
about it. But I have a lot of, I guess, opinions on the religion part.
It was
as someone who
so
did grow up
inappropriate.
Christian, I felt like one, everybody, and I'm not trying to invalidate anyone's feelings, and I'm also not trying to defend her, but I'm trying to give different perspectives. One, she does not rock with religion or Christianity. It has been known, Mormonism, Christianity, anything. She has always made that known on her platform that she doesn't rock with it. Get that, understood. However, if you're a super devout Christian, someone who holds your religion in such a, like you value it in such a high regard, why are you consuming this person's content from the get-go? They do not align with you.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, on the flip side, why, she knows that a lot of people are religious. So even if you do have this anger and resentment towards organized religion, even if you do feel that way, why would you be so blatantly disrespectful to people who are supporting you and following you, like with no regard for them, no thought about how this would come off at all? Like, it feels like you could think those things.
Yeah.
And it would be crazy, but don't say that out loud. Or two, if you're going to make those jokes, make those jokes around your friends. Make those jokes around like-minded people. Don't make that joke on the internet where all of these people who have supported you are going to be like, ouch, that really hurts.
Yeah. Like making the comment she made before it about like people in Christianity being her haters, like you have a Bible verse, whatever. Okay. Like if you're stating that when you check a hate commenter's profile, that's what you see, like, and you've made it known, like on your platform, you're not a huge organized religion person, like you said, like those comments, I think that's fair. That's okay. You want to claim that this is what you see and, you know, that's kind of what you said, whatever. And I don't think if that was all that happened, it wouldn't really be valid for people to be upset about that because it's like this is only sticking to what she's claimed before and pointing out a repetition, maybe a pattern that she's seen. But taking it so far as to make a joke that does hurt people and offends people and invalidates supporters and all of that, it's just like there was a line and you very blatantly crossed it. Again, on the internet. It's it's inappropriate in general, frankly.
Agree. Yeah.
But like, oof, to do it
Yeah.
when you're in the public eye to choose to not edit it out. I'm sure she has people to edit it.
I know.
But,
I
like,
think they thought it was funny, like, they thought it was gonna land, and they thought that it was ended, and she normally jokes, it's just
I
and
mean, I
people
just
like
don't
her because
understand.
of her how she's not scared to say things, so I think that people thought that that would just be her personality coming out in that way. Um, yeah, I thought that it was crazy, but yeah, no.
The
I
fact that it
think
was a real
it
podcast that aired was just what it was for me. Like,
Yeah.
whenever I saw the clip, I was like, this is real.
Mhm.
Like, this actually happened. People said, this married woman said these actual things and posted it.
And to her point, and like I said, not trying to defend anyone, I'm just saying all the perspectives. To her point, she is not wrong about the hate comments.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of people, a lot of the women leaving hate comments on specifically her type of niche. Her niche is like stay-at-home mom, that
Yeah.
kind of content. The people who hate on that type of person and judge this person's parenting style and judge this person as a mom and how
As
she
a
does all her things
woman,
as a
yeah,
woman, you know,
yeah.
all her things, career choice, whatever. Those people usually are the
Yeah.
religious ones, the
That's fair
Christian
to
women.
point out.
And I think that that is a valid thing to say. I think that if that was something that she was wanting to address and that was an issue that she was acknowledging, there's a time and place to do that.
For
And I
sure.
think that there's a way to do that
Yeah.
without disrespecting the people who do participate in those religions and also don't act like that and do support you, and
Yeah.
lumping them all in together is just not fair.
No.
This might be not, people might not like that I'm about to say this, but whenever I listened to the podcast before seeing anything about it, all I had seen was people talking about just like it was like just like a gross podcast episode. So I was like, I'm gonna listen to it and see like what, like if it's as gross as people are saying, because people say that all the time about like movies, books, whatever. So I'm like, is it really?
Yeah.
So I turn it on and it immediately is uncomfortable. Just like it's just like weird energy. But I will say when she made that joke, I laughed. I thought it was funny because the context that it was set in was, I just don't know. I think it was like the banter of it all, but I don't I j- I d- I don't know. I have conflicting feelings about it because it's, again, at the end of the day, I do think that like jokes are jokes. Comedians make crazy jokes, and I think things are not that deep, as people say. I think things are not that deep. But if you are a person who holds your religion in this way, and like I said, I just wouldn't also ever say something like that, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard because realistically, it was a joke and it's not that deep, but also to someone who this is their entire identity,
And
it
this is
that
someone they
deep.
look up to.
Yes,
Like,
that is something that it's
realistically.
like she does not, which I saw someone post about it and they made a really, really good point. It was someone who was Christian. I cannot remember what her name is right now. Someone made a video, and she was like, we can't, if you are Christian, you can't hold people. The Bible says, to hold people to standards, but you can only hold believers to those standards. You can't hold someone who doesn't believe the same things as you to the same standards as you're holding a Christian. You can't judge her for saying something insanely outrageous or like hold
If
her
she
to that
doesn't
standard
align
if
it. Yeah.
she doesn't believe this thing. She doesn't believe this entity exists.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe in it at all. So you can't expect her to empathize as much as someone who, this is their whole life, this is their savior, this is their, this is their belief system and their morals. And I think that's also interesting. I think that, like, I don't know what I think. I have a lot of thoughts, but
I liked you pointing out the like comedians make jokes.
Yes.
And to harp on that a little bit, I do think it's interesting to take that comparison and like pull that apart, because comedians make jokes that I think are inappropriate.
agree. Yeah.
Like there is a type of comedian that I like, okay, you're funny. There are people that are funny for sure, but there are people that I feel like maybe the quote popular comedians these days favored by men, I think are not funny.
Agree.
I think that their like jokes that they make are uncomfortable. I don't think it's right. And I know that the whole thing is like you make jokes and there's an audience for it, but like nobody is looking up to comedians except like aspiring comedians, but no one is like basing their life off of a comedian. They're listening to it because this comedian aligns with their beliefs and they think they're funny. So like their audience, typically I'm sure that people do get hate comments like comedians. However, like their point is to provide comedy and
Right.
laughs for a niche audience. And this content creator does not have that same, like, that's not her point. Her point is to whatever, like, I don't know. Not that I don't know that much about her, not to say like people look up to her, but like she is an influencer. Like she influences people. She makes content that people pay attention to and people like, I don't know. I feel like what each career, if you want to say that, or like each person in the media, their general goals is also the wrong word, but like, I don't know. What their point is very different. So it's
Mhm.
like, yes, comedians make these god awful jokes that people get away with, but it's like, I don't know. She should be held to a higher standard. And like, yeah, it was a joke and I definitely get that, but it's just like, I mean, you should hold yourself higher than that. And
I
I get
agree.
being vulgar and I
Yeah.
get like having like people liking that she doesn't hold herself back, but there is a line
I agree.
and I don't know.
I
Mm.
agree. I think that, like you said, I think that like I think she should hold herself to a higher
Yeah.
standard. So like I said earlier with the girl saying that like we can't necessarily hold her to
Mhm.
a higher standard. I do think that she should
Yeah.
as a woman,
Yeah.
an almost
Like
30-year-old woman
classy.
like you are. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Like you just don't, even if that's the way you joke or cope or whatever, you just have
You
to
should
be a
have
little
more
bit more, you have
respect.
to be a little
Yeah.
bit more self-aware than that. Like
Yeah.
you're not dumb.
No.
You know that there is a massive audience, a massive part of her audience. It should have been obvious. I feel like that there were going to be a lot of religious women in her following, whether that's Christian or not, or otherwise. But I do think that, especially because she posts stay-at-home mom content.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the
That does
stay-at-home
align.
moms
Yeah.
are religious
Yeah.
because they are aligning with what
Believing
is
with that,
exactly like
yeah.
what are the gender roles and that kind of thing, which I guess she's also defying gender roles because she's the breadwinner, so she doesn't see herself, maybe she doesn't see it that way, but
But
it
other
is
women
that
do.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely think that it's crazy. Did you see her apology?
I did not. I heard, or I guess I saw a comment that someone did, like, said that she had apologized, but I think I was still in the middle of the video and then I just forgot to go look at it.
Well, her apology was basically just like her being ignorant and disrespectful. It was mostly on the like religious side of everything. Like she just shouldn't have said that because that was crossing a line, and she acknowledges that she crossed a line. Um, she then goes on to say that her podcast is a comedy podcast and that the joke did not land and she shouldn't have expected it to, and that she crossed the line, and that was that. Um,
I like the joke didn't land and she shouldn't have expected it to.
yeah,
Like,
but I don't know if that was exactly her words.
yeah, but
that
no,
was
I like that
the
you
gist.
said that. Like, yeah.
But all I've been seeing obviously is the people's feedback on the apology, and here's where it gets sticky for me because, like I said, and nobody hate me. I'm not trying to defend her, but let's be real. Every time an influencer does something wrong, people expect an apology.
Yeah.
When they apologize, people are not satisfied with the apology.
sure.
They hate the apology. They have to
Mhm.
say, "Oh, it's not
it's not-
sincere.
yeah.
It's not real. They're just doing this so people don't unfollow them." Which one, maybe, sure,
Yeah.
this is their freaking livelihood.
Yeah.
But also,
Like,
nothing
that's what is
there is
expected of
nothing
them.
that they could say that would make you feel okay with what they
Yeah.
did.
There's only so much.
Yes,
Yeah.
you expected these things of her to begin with. She fails you because she is a human being. You expect an apology. She apologizes, but you have expectations for that apology, and she does not exceed them. And so you are disappointed in her again. So it's just like, if someone does something, an influencer does something that people don't like and they feel it is worthy of canceling this person, just do not engage with them at all. Don't
Yeah.
watch the apology because you
Yeah.
don't want to forgive her, and that's fine. That's totally
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
If you feel like she crossed a boundary for you and you said, "You know what? This was it for me. This was the last straw. I'm not going to follow and consume this person's content anymore."
Just
Awesome.
don't.
But don't watch the apology because you don't want to hear what she has to say, and the apology's not for you then.
Yeah.
If you're not going to receive it.
yeah.
I maybe am one of the naive people who likes to think that when influencers apologize that they do mean it. I try not to like, I don't know. I try not to be like, well, that doesn't seem that doesn't seem sincere. Like whenever
Not
London
feeding.
and Olivia
That's who I was, the
apologized.
example I was gonna
Like,
give
when
too.
people
Yeah.
apologize for things on the internet, I try my best to see it in a way that, like, this could happen to anyone. Like,
Yeah.
if it, like, I say stupid things all the time. I do stupid things all the time. And if the whole world saw my mistakes, it would be a lot harder to, it'd be a lot harder to take accountability and move forward and, like, for people to
Yeah.
forgive you for those
Yeah,
things because
yeah.
it's out in the open. Like, even, like, in my personal relationship, Adam will call me out for things and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that was crappy of me." But, like, I can't imagine if I was getting called out and by people, like, just random strangers for all kinds of things all the time. Um so yeah, I do think that people were saying, people again were finding issues with the apology. They don't think it's sincere. They don't, whatever. But and they're saying that they kept saying that which I wasn't a person who was majorly offended by it. And so maybe I'm not the one to
Judge the.
judge the apology,
Yeah.
I guess, but I guess I'm never really that offended by a lot of the things that influencers do because they're just not real people to me. Like, I mean, they are, but, like, they aren't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a parasocial relationship with this person.
Yeah.
So, like, what
Yeah.
they do does not
It's
affect
not.
me.
Yeah. I
I'm
don't
not
know her.
like,
I'm not
when
disappointed.
they do something wrong, I'm like, oh well, that sucks, but, like, they're a sucky person.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Unfollow. You know, like, it's not a thing. Like, people are all the time disappointed by influencers. Alex Earl said this, or whoever said that, or they did this, or they did that when they were in college, or whatever. All these things that people are doing and finding out about how these people do bad things. Yeah, newsflash, people do bad things. People
Yeah.
are not inherently good.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I wasn't offended by it because there are a lot of things in this world that you can choose to not be offended by, and I just chose not to care about being offended by that.
For sure.
I think that people have different beliefs, and some people say crazy things all the time, and it just is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
So
I just kind of thought it was crazy. Like, I honestly don't really keep up with her, so I didn't find offense in, like, this person I know, like, letting me down or anything.
yeah,
So it was just
yeah.
like, I just
don't
kind of
even
tuned
think
in to be like,
I don't know
this
if I
is
follow her.
crazy. It's crazy that someone with a platform did this.
I agree.
But it's
agree.
like, yeah, it's not gonna. I can comment on that and maybe disappointed's not even the right word because, like, I don't know or care about her. Sorry, but, like, I don't know. I can take notes, but yeah, it's
Mhm,
not like
mhm.
she's let me down or anything,
Right, yeah.
and that I'm, like, offended. It's just like, you just shouldn't do that.
Yeah, agree. I agree. I think that you just shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, people were saying that my perspective of the apology, I think, was different than other people's, just because I guess I don't always have the same opinion as everybody. But the people that were offended, I guess, were saying that she didn't take accountability for it, and that she was saying, I'm sorry that you didn't get my joke. That is
Ooh.
how they felt whenever she apologized. And I can see that perspective for sure. But I do think that from my perspective, it felt like that was just the people nitpicking the apology. It just
Yeah.
felt like you're going to have an
No one
issue with
wanted to
anything she
accept it,
says. There's
yeah.
nothing that she can do to make you feel better. And that's fair. If you're that upset about it, that is totally fair to
Yeah.
be that upset about it. But she did take accountability, in my opinion. She did say, like, I'm so sorry. That was wrong of me. I crossed a line. Like,
Yeah.
I should not have done that.
That's all you can expect.
And then she does explain, like, that it is a comedy podcast and the joke didn't land, and sorry, and she apologizes for that. And so I don't know. I'm like, I really do get, like, people saying, like, oh, she's making excuses or she's not taking accountability, because I can hear that side of it. Like, if I were a person who was offended by her original sin, I guess, then I could see it coming off that way to someone who was really hurt by it.
Yeah.
Because you can't just, like, if you're a person who was really truly hurt by these things, then you can't just, like, move past it immediately,
Yeah,
or, like,
yeah.
whatever, set it aside. But I do think it's also really hard, again, coming from someone who's not religious, to apologize for something that they don't see as maybe that huge of a deal. I don't know. I didn't feel like her apology was bad. I felt like it was the same as every other. What can you expect?
Yes,
You don't know this
exactly.
person.
Like,
and so,
there's
like,
only so much they can say. Either you feel like they're a good person
Yeah.
and you accept it, or
give me
you don't.
exactly. Give me one example of a influencer apologizing for something that they did wrong where you were like, oh yeah, that was sincere. You
Yeah.
never feel that way
No.
because they're all very similar. Because
Yeah.
realistically,
There's only so
it
many
is all the
words.
same to them. Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't know these people, so they can recognize, hey, what I did was wrong. I'm so sorry, but it's not gonna come off like the most sincere in the world because it's not a
They're
personal
talking
apology
to-
from someone that
yes,
you love. It's
yeah.
not the same thing.
They're talking to a large audience. Like,
Yeah.
it's not personalized to you, so it's not going to feel like how you expect it to, because the apologies you expect are based on the apologies you receive in your personal real life.
Right.
So it's like they can't be held to the same standard.
I agree. I think there's so many. It's so interesting this whole topic in general because there's so many topics within this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have addressed most of it probably. Baseline is the episode was incredibly inappropriate on a multitude of levels. There were a lot of things wrong with it, and there are a lot of things wrong with people, and everyone has their opinions on anytime there's something like this that comes up, and we also have our opinions.
Mm-hmm. Always do.
Always do.
If there's an opinion to have, we have it.
Yeah. I think I just always feel bad for people. So like I'm always like looking at it like feeling bad for people. I'm like, "Oh." Because when I watched it, I was like, "Oh." And then whenever she apologizes, she's getting hate. I'm like, "Oh." I'm like I just feel bad for everybody actually. I'm like this is just really bad. Like the whole time I kept thinking this is going to be really bad for her.
Yeah.
Like this is really bad.
Yeah, I see the
But-
fallout.
Yeah, yes, I see the fallout. I see the crash out. But I'm not that connected to influencers. I don't think there's
Yeah.
an influencer that I could be like, dang, really? Like, I just don't
Mhm.
think. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't. I'm trying to think if there's any that I'm like, oh, there's something that would disappoint me, but not surprise me. And I won't say it. But
Okay.
Just, yeah, I'm just not that connected
True.
to the influencers and what they do and what they think.
Yeah.
Shall we get into the topic, or do you have something to say?
No, I think we should jump into our life hacks.
Life hacks.
It's gonna be a good one, I feel like.
I didn't
'cause-
come up with any more than what I already have,
Yeah, I really didn't.
but I
have
think
much
I can
either.
talk about them.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because they're just silly,
Yeah.
and maybe they'll be silly or helpful to our lovely listeners, you guys. But yeah, we're gonna talk about our silly little life hacks today.
Our silly little life hacks.
Would you like to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to say the one that we both know and
Okay.
love.
Okay. Is it the first one?
Swallow your gum.
Swallow your gum, guys.
Swallow your gum.
Like life is not that
Like-
serious.
Like it's really not that big of a deal. Like just freaking swallow your gum.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this one because, well, maybe I should have you talk about it.
Okay.
The whatever the issue was when you were just like, I can just swallow it.
Yeah. Where was that? When was that?
I don't remember.
That was a while ago.
Quite a long time ago.
I don't know. Was I with you?
I feel like
Did
you
I just
were.
tell you?
Did I tell you to swallow your gum?
Yeah, I
Or-
think so. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think that we were together, and this was a while ago. I
Oh,
don't
I do-
really remember.
I don't remember what was happening, but I do remember me telling you now.
Yeah. And sometimes you just can't throw away your gum. Sometimes you're somewhere that you don't have a trash can, you don't have like your purse with a piece of trash in it, or I don't know. There are places you can be at, situations you can be in where you don't have somewhere to throw your gum. And, you're just tired of it. And you may just be listening and be like, oh, well, just chew it longer. What a weirdo. No.
No.
I could just be done. Yeah, it gets gross. There's a point where it gets gross. Also, every now and then, this doesn't happen that much, but every now and then, this is going to sound really weird. I don't think this happens to other people, but if I have like a minty gum and I have an empty stomach, every now and then it will make me get nauseous. Like I'll be totally normal, chewing my gum, fine. And then like it hits a point where I'm like, no, like if I keep chewing this gum, I will throw up. No explanation, very random every now and then, but there are just times that you need to get rid of your gum. You're done with it. There's nowhere to put it, no solution at hand. And apparently we're in one of those. And I said something about it. And Chloe reminded me.
I feel like I offered you something like a drink or food or something. You're like, oh, I have my gum. I really want to spit it out or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
She reminded me that I can just swallow my gum. And it's going to be silly because you might be listening and maybe you have never forgotten this detail. I had forgotten this detail. I forgot that you could swallow your gum for years. Years I spent of my life. Like as a child, I maybe throw the word child around lightly, but like for over 5 years, I want to say confidently, I forgot that that is an option, that you can
Mhm.
swallow your gum. Because I don't know. It had never crossed my mind. It hasn't in a long time crossed my mind that I could do that. And I was like, wow, you're right. I could just swallow my gum, problem solved. And it's something I never want to forget about again because you're just in that situation and you just need it gone. And it sounds so stupid, but you really can just swallow it.
Well, I want to harp on it a little bit
Okay.
because as a child, you're told that it takes 7 years
Yeah.
to break down
Yeah.
gum if you swallow it. One, that is a myth. That is objectively not true. It is just not true. And so, swallow your gum.
Yeah.
Number two, it's not bad for you. People seem to think that swallowing your gum is bad for you. I don't understand where this is coming from. Maybe I'm lacking some info. But why would it be so bad for you if it just comes out the way everything else does? And it is candy. Like,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Um
And you won't do it all the time.
no,
It's like these
not like
random
a-
niche
it's not like
situations.
a every time you
that
chew
it's like
gum.
it's an option. Like
It's
just
like a
don't
maybe
forget that
once
that's
a
an option.
year.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's not anything crazy. But that begs the question, or not begs the question, I guess. That brings up a very controversial topic. I did not realize that swallowing your gum was a controversy, and it is.
It apparently is.
It is
yeah.
very controversial in the sense that some people think it is gross and disgusting to swallow your gum. You should never swallow your swallow your gum. Hello? What is so gross and nasty about swallowing your gum?
You've already chewed it.
You've already chewed it.
like all the ingredients I've already like
I
absorbed.
am willing to bet
I
you
feel
have
it.
consumed and swallowed worse things in your life.
True.
Could be anything, but I'm sure it's worse than gum.
Yeah.
Like alcohol, objectively worse for you than swallowing gum.
Not to be like it's an emergency, but like it could just be an emergency.
Exactly.
Down the hatch.
Down the hatch. But I was talking about it to my coworkers, and because they said something about life hack, and I was like, oh my gosh, life hack, swallow your gum, and they were like, ew.
No.
Y-
Convenient.
Do not guilt me and make me feel bad for swallowing my gum maybe once a year. And actually, I have not swallowed my gum in I don't know how many years because I also have Invisalign in, so I don't chew gum.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
if I did, I would swallow it and happily.
Yeah.
Because listen, it takes 2 seconds, so easy. To me, swallowing your gum is freedom. It is remembering that you have free will.
Free will.
You
yes.
can do whatever you want. Like,
That
you
is-
just swallow it.
That's
Like,
just setting the example of free will.
exactly. Like, you got a problem, babe? Swallow your gum.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
Immediate relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what is up with people's brains. If you are listening to this right now and you think that swallowing your gum, oh my God, swallowing your gum is gross, then you need a reality check. This is me reality checking you.
I'm also afraid that if you're that type of person, that in these situations, to contradict the swallowing option, I'm afraid you're sticking it under a chair, under something that it doesn't go on.
Do you want to know what I noticed last time I was in the Brandy Melville dressing rooms?
Gum?
Yes. But 2 times, the 2 different dressing rooms, same location. But
Okay.
you know how the curtains don't close all the way?
Uh-huh.
People have been using their gum to try to stick the curtains, and then it just sticks to the wall and the curtain and doesn't actually, But there's the gum on the wall and on the curtain conveniently where you would close.
Like close it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Okay, yeah. I mean,
that's a life hack too. If you think about it, really, use your gum to close the curtains at Brandy Melville.
evidently it's a life hack that I had no knowledge about.
I know, I hadn't thought about it either until I saw it, and I was like, wow, that's really disgusting.
That
I'm
is
never gonna do that.
So insane. Like,
yeah. I guess we're not also the target audience. Like I think like younger girls are the target audience
And they're
for
just too
Brandy, and they're just
stupid.
like if you're a middle high school girl and you're gross,
Yeah.
you just do
and you
it.
just don't care about
people or
anything
things or germs or
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was number 1 on my list too, because it is just so important to me.
so important. I think it's crucial that everybody knows and remembers that they have free will today. And if you're chewing gum right now, go ahead and swallow it for me.
Please.
Just remember that you can do that.
Just
Muster
to prove
up the
it.
courage.
Yeah. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go. My next life hack is, hear me out, skipping breakfast. I've got 2 points to this. 1, finances. Oh my gosh, 1 less meal. Love that. Wait, I might have 3. I might have 3 points.
I'm disagreeing with your life hack right now. Well, actually, I can get behind it, and I'll tell you why in a moment.
So, yeah, you're not buying breakfast food. I think that's great. Specifically, I'm thinking while I'm saying this is like when you go grocery shopping, you're not grabbing breakfast food. Awesome. Next, if you're out and about, oh my gosh, you're going to be out all day or you're on vacation, whatever. I'm not paying for both meals when I could have one. No. I'm not going to go pay for breakfast food when I could just like have a coffee and then wait until lunch.
Don't you have to pay for the coffee?
Well, I guess if I was like out, then yeah. But I don't know. Like
What
I
if
was
you're
on a work
hungry?
trip. I was on a work trip once and they had like a I wish am not. Sorry, that was late. I'm just not hungry. I was on a work trip once and I don't know, there wasn't like a very set standard on what we could count for, like what your meal should cost
Yeah.
X or whatever. And it covered since I was like out of the state, they pay for my food. And so I like could have got breakfast, but instead I got a really big drink at Starbucks.
Yeah.
So it's like, but yeah, I'm just thinking like if I was at home, but like if I woke up and then I was going to be out all day, but like, I'm not one that I can't just wake up and dive into breakfast. Like even if I do have breakfast or something, if I consume something before lunchtime and like my lunch meal, I still like I'm not a wake up and immediately eat type of person. And so like if I had to get up and go, like I'll make my coffee at home and I'm not going to stop and get breakfast. I'm going to wait and pay for one meal. Also, another perk of this is not eating breakfast food. Gosh, what a joy. I hate breakfast food. I love sausage these days. I eat sausage almost every day. 3 sausage links and 1 coffee. Today, for example, I had 3 sausage links at like 9:30 or 10. And then I went and got a coffee. And I only went and got a coffee because I was out of pods. And that was the option. I mean, I could have gone to the store and gotten pods, but we weren't going to the store. So I went and got a coffee because we were passing it. And I almost never get coffee out anyway. But since we were out, I did at like 12:30. And I had Taco Bell for dinner, which brings me to my final point I'd like to say. And that is, I guess kind of I'm on a calorie deficit right now. I guess so. Yeah, I'm going to say that I am because I know I'm eating less. I just wanted to say I'm not like you couldn't go back and see my weeks that I've been like writing it down or anything, but I'm eating consciously every day about it. But I didn't use my calories on breakfast or lunch, so I got to have Taco Bell for dinner. What a joy.
What a joy.
I don't know. I just think it's a hack. Just don't eat breakfast and like splurge later if you're counting calories or whatever, and then have like a really nice good meal out and about if you'd have to pay for 2 kind of middle ground meals. I don't know.
Well, if we're getting to food hacks, there's obviously so many food hacks.
There's
and
so
that's
many.
cauliflower rice, that's cottage cheese, that's like low carb tortillas. There's so many life food hacks if you're
So
trying to be
true.
a
Yeah.
healthy queen.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say I could get behind your skipping breakfast, but now I've decided I retract my statement because I still don't. I still am not behind it because 1, I do like breakfast, and
Yeah.
2, I work
Yeah,
10-hour shifts, and
Mhm.
so
You need
I have
energy.
to
Food
eat.
is energy.
I
Sorry.
have to eat at certain points, and also I have Invisalign, so it's not like I can just like eat whenever. I have to
Yeah.
eat at my allotted time. So like I have to eat at certain
When
times
they're yeah.
before and then at lunch, and then that usually is like I eat at like 6:30 and then a.m. and then I eat
God,
at
that
like 1
sounds
p.m.
awful.
and then I eat again whenever I get off.
Yeah.
So like at 7 or 8.
Yeah.
This is actually really bad. I can't wait to not work 10 hours. Yeah, that's your life hack.
I
then.
just really I live and breathe this life hack. Honestly, for a while, because like I said, I've just never loved breakfast food. So this isn't really a new thing at all. Like, even in high school, I wouldn't like wake up and have breakfast really. I just tend to skip breakfast.
I
It's
did
just
too
such
in
a
high
nice,
school.
like,
I didn't ever start eating breakfast until this job.
yeah, I was going to say, like, it probably would be different, but like thinking about if I had to like commute to work or something, like I don't have to cushion the extra time for me to wake up, make breakfast, do dishes, whatever the prep of that is. Obviously, like when I have kids one day, that will change. Obviously, we'll feed my children breakfast. But
You
as
can't
of now,
eat.
like
It's a life hack.
I don't have to like wake up earlier because like I have to go somewhere, but I have to wake up earlier to make breakfast. Like, I don't know. It's cheaper. It's better. I don't know. I love it.
Okay. My next life hack is I'm not a person who owns the chip clips for chip bags.
Mm-hmm.
So I use, this might be gross, I use claw clips sometimes
True.
because it's the same thing.
It's a clip. Yeah.
And like it's touching the bag, not the chip. So like,
yeah, I don't think that's gross. I think that's okay.
well, I just noticed that. I was like looking at my pantry and I was like, what a life hack of me to use my claw clips as chip
So
clips.
multifunctional.
Yeah, like hello, getting my money's worth and saving my chips while I do it.
So true. I'm sure this one is on your list, but I of course had to honorable mention zero sugar sodas. Life hack.
Oh,
I feel like this needs no description, but 0 calories, 0 sugar, still
it's like
delicious.
you're not even consuming anything.
like it's
like-
incredible.
It's like a free treat.
Yeah. I don't think life can go back to when I didn't know 0 sugar. Like, because I
Yeah.
don't have to feel guilty. I just have a yummy treat that makes me happy about my day.
Yeah, I will say whenever I was drinking, not to be like this way, but like whenever I was drinking normal soda, I'd be like, I feel kind of bad because like I drink
Yes.
normal soda. Like soda's like,
I felt bad.
and like
I had like
zero
health
sugar
anxiety.
soda is also not good for you. Like there are plenty of things in zero sugar soda that are, and diet sodas in general, that are just as bad, if not worse for you. But for some reason,
yeah.
my brain doesn't know those
No.
things.
No.
My
like,
brain can't. It just knows no sugar.
yes, exactly.
Healthy, good
I was
for
gonna
you.
say, like, if I had I was telling Justin the other day, we passed the sweet tea at the store, and I was like, sweet tea sounds so good. Like a big cup of sweet tea. That sounds delicious. I'm like, I would feel so bad. Like I would feel so guilty.
So much
like
sugar.
I would feel bad for like my body and my teeth. I just have really bad anxiety about like I don't know. I just feel really bad. But I love it. 0 sugar sodas is my workaround to having a nice yummy treat when I don't have to feel guilty about it.
Okay. My next one is not necessarily a life hack, but I think I realized it was a life hack because of you.
Okay.
Because
Afraid.
it was something that you did not do.
Oh.
And that is using the defrost mode on the microwave.
Oh, for sure. Valid.
Like
yeah.
there is that mode and it's there for a reason and you can use it. In case you're wondering, you guys can use the defrost mode on the microwave. You don't have to set out your ground beef for hours on end. You can just defrost it, and it's not microwaving the meat. It's not cooking the meat. It is a setting that's like lower whatever, and like it doesn't cook it. It literally just makes sure it's not frozen. That's all.
It really freaks me out. I've used it twice in an emergency circumstance.
For
and
ground beef?
I've always thrown it out after.
What?
I've like made the food and I'm like, I actually can't stomach it.
Babe.
Yeah.
What is it is there for a reason.
And then it
is a friend,
it smells
not a foe.
awful after.
Smells awful?
Yeah, and like
What? I think that you have like something wrong with you.
I think most people think that about me too.
What? I just don't. There's nothing wrong with it unless I will say I do it for ground beef and ground turkey. I mean, I guess if I did ground chicken, then ground chicken. But like I don't for chicken, like anything, like if I'm making like chicken thighs or chicken tenders or chicken breasts, anything like that, I do just defrost that like normal.
Yeah.
For some, I don't think it does as well. I don't think that it like, I feel
Mhm.
like it just, yeah, I don't know. Something about it. But ground meats, why not?
Yeah. True. Go crazy. I think I will pass. I'd rather starve. I just can't. I think that maybe if someone else did it and I didn't know, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Like, it just really gives me
But
the
now
ick.
you know I do it. Okay.
I promise I'll be done with the food ones soon.
I also have a food one.
But I guess this is kind of like, no, I'll say them one at a time. 0 sugar coffee syrups. I felt like this was worth mentioning as well because I don't know, if you don't drink coffee or you don't drink coffee like how we drink coffee, then this doesn't matter or affect you in any way. But I feel like that was a very life-changing thing. And also once I just started ordering it at like the coffee shop like that too, it's like I don't have to buy them and only use them at home. Like I can still get a coffee. Like I've done this for months now, but there was a time I just ordered my normal coffee, but I'm like, I can get those with zero sugar and I just don't feel as bad. Like I don't know. It's not so much about the calories there, it's just like the sugar of it. I'm like, I don't feel as bad because it's like sugar free and 0 calories, and I have my 3 syrups that I like in it, and it's just nice.
Unfortunately, they just don't taste the same.
There are some that I feel like that, but in general, I'm just used to it or they don't bother me, but in general, they don't bother. Like it doesn't mess with me at all.
Hmm. All right.
I guess
Well,
that's good.
yeah, I just know that for some reason, if I do, because I get like the I don't know, I get the Irish cream
Mhm.
whatever, and so I get the Smooth 7 at 7 Brew, and if I get the sugar-free Irish cream, it tastes like eggnog.
Ooh.
I mean, it's not like horrible. It's just like I have to know that that's the sacrifice I'm making if I do that.
Mm. Yeah, I
And
mean,
my sugar-free caramel sauce that I have at home is disgusting. Every sugar-free, I mean, like I just don't like any of the sugar-free stuff I have at home.
well, to be fair, I think that if I went to Dutch Bros and I ordered my drink non-sugar free, my drink sugar free, I would be curious. Maybe I will do that as an investigation now
To see what it
to see
actually
if it's
tastes
like if it
different.
tastes if I taste a difference, if the difference bothers me, whatever, if they're side by side. Because I mean, there was just a point where I started doing it all the time and now that's just what I do. But in general, it's not so much the sugar free that would bother me. It's just like if they get the quantity of syrup wrong, either way, it just can knock out a drink for me.
What I've noticed is because back when I was trying to be like super healthy, I was doing like everything super just like as low cal as possible, pretty much. What I've noticed from that is that I am not a person who can do like the skinny coffees. Like I can't do sugar free and
And
skim
skim,
milk.
yeah, no,
It
no,
needs to
no.
be like oat milk and sugar free or skim milk and full sugar syrup. Like you
Yeah,
can't have both.
both, yeah. That
So
makes sense.
that's my issue with that. My next one is another food one, and that is kids meals.
I had that on mine too.
Because that felt like the biggest life
I
hack
felt
to
like I
me
unlocked it.
whenever because like duh, you can order a kids meal, but it feels embarrassing at first. It's not embarrassing. I want you to know that I don't always need and by I don't always need, I mean I never need
No.
a full, like I always have leftovers.
It's
Always. Like
yes.
we have so much leftovers right now just from like all the holidays and stuff and just like going out and whatever, and I'm like I just don't need that much food. Like I just don't. And so I noticed this, or I started doing this at Chipotle.
Yeah,
I got the kids meals at Chipotle, and it is a bang for your buck, let me
it
tell you.
is.
I think they've raised the prices since then, but I think you get like if you do the quesadilla one, you get a quesadilla and two sides. And what my life hack is that I do a quesadilla and they'll be like, "Do you want meat in that?" And I'll say, "Can I get it on the side?"
Yeah.
And then so I'll get rice and beans as my two sides, and I'll do the meat as my extra or whatever. And I think it's a little bit extra, but whatever. And then there's something else that I did with it.
I like to get sour cream
I
on
got
the
something
side.
else. Yeah, I got something else, and then I would have my quesadilla, and I would pour all my little sides and crap in the big
In the bowl,
part,
yeah.
and I'd have basically a quesadilla and a little bowl. Oh, it comes with chips. That's what it is. I would use it
Mhm.
as like nachos. It comes with chips and a drink, and all of that is like
I think
cheaper
it's
than
like 7
it's
or
like
8
everything
now,
I
but
want.
Chipotle's like $20 if you get a normal bowl with
Yes,
like
Chipotle's expensive.
guac or something, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a life hack, and then whenever I guess I started doing that at Kava as well. And I just love Kava. And I love their kids' meals. It's a good amount of food because again,
Yes.
even there you get like a kid's pita. So you get pita bread and you get all the mix-ins and stuff, and you basically get a bowl and you get pita chips and you get a drink. It's just so nice. And that's all I really need. And then I get a little bit of everything because I usually am very indecisive at like restaurants and I want a little bit of everything. And then even at Chick-fil-A, you can get kids' meals everywhere. It's just so
Yes.
nice. I love kids' meals.
I agree. I put that on my list. Again, I got a couple points for that as well. Yes, it's bang for your buck. Super important. I just really appreciate that. I love a bargain. I can't deny it. I always will love a bargain. So I really appreciate a good bang for your buck. Next, the if you think of like the portion size of normal food in America, typically the size of a kid's meal is what a serving size is in a different country.
Yeah.
We get too much food. We are overeating. And so by getting a kid's meal, you're realistically getting how much food you should be eating paired with like like if you look at the nutritions, like the calories, like that's it's more aligned with what we should be taking in our body. We're just so like brainwashed into thinking like, oh, I'll get my own meal or I'll get blah blah blah. But realistically, like the kids' meal is more aligned with what we should be doing for like nutrition and how much food we should be taking, so we're not overeating. And
I just wish they made the adult foods in the kids versions. Like if you go to a restaurant, I wish that like on the kids meal at a
yes,
restaurant,
yeah,
it's just
it's like spaghetti.
yes,
but it's like no, I
why
want the
can't
other
get
pasta.
this pasta, but this portion size.
Agree. And yeah, so that's another great point. And I feel like another thing that kind of makes it harder, or like you said, it might be scary at first because it seems embarrassing. The other side is some restaurants won't let you order ahead or do drive-through. There are so many places that says like 12 or under, just order it ahead and pick it up. Because that is the amount of food you're going to eat. And also like in a drive-through, even that, like it doesn't matter. I went somewhere the other day. We went to Cane's and we wanted a little bit, but we shouldn't have eaten it and we still needed to count our calories. So we got a kids meal and it says 12 and under on the thing. It's a drive-through. Does not matter. Just get the kids meal. It's just so nice. And I do really appreciate, like you said, kind of being indecisive. I like having a couple options, which is nice. But I don't know. It really is just a hidden gem. And ever since we have been counting our calories and being super conscious with stuff, we're realizing that anytime we get a meal, we split it. And not out of cheapness at all, we would normally get, my example would be Koji, my favorite restaurant. My favorite fast food place is Koji and it's hibachi. And like any normal day, like if we weren't counting anything, we'd both get our own meals. And Justin usually like would finish his or like eat as much as like he considers redeemable, like if the rice is a little oily or greasy or whatever. And then I would eat about half of it and have leftovers the next day. No, we just get one and we split it. Once you put that out of the takeout container and into a plate, half of it is plenty of food. It was perfect. And another budget thing, like it's so nice. It's so much cheaper because it's like, it's too much food and I'm going to have to reheat it and it's not going to reheat the same. Yeah. So nice. Running my Nespresso pod twice. Sorry. People probably think that's weird. It has changed my life.
Really?
Really and truly. Changed my life.
I feel like that'd be gross.
No, changed my life. As someone like, I don't love super strong coffee because that's the only complaint is like it's a little bit more diluted the second time. But I just run it immediately. I don't run, I don't run it 2 different times. I don't use it and then use it the next day. Let me preface. I'm running it and as soon as it is done pouring that first espresso shot, I press it again so it makes a double espresso. Because you can't buy double espresso in person. Like you have to order it from Nespresso or Amazon or whatever. Like the only pods you can find in person are like coffee size, which doesn't work for my like lattes, or single espresso. And I want a bigger coffee. So when we got it, I was making single espressos and I was like, this is tiny. Like the amount of coffee I'm getting for my little iced coffee is nothing. And I just started running them twice and it doesn't bother me at all. There was nothing that I noticed about the flavor in any way. And I have a bigger coffee and I'm getting the same amount of caffeine, I'm sure, but that's not the part. It's like, I just want to have more drink and it gets me more drink. The ratios still work like with my milk and everything. So life hack for me.
Interesting. I would say I'll give it a go, but I'm scared that I probably just won't do that because I just feel like it won't be as strong. Like the espresso won't espresso the same.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make Adam do it.
I just don't like whenever I was making it before, my coffee was like 6 ounces or something. Like it is probably small. Even less than that. Like,
I will say it is small.
It's like there's no point in making that because I'm not drinking it because I'm like, ooh, I really want the taste of coffee. Like I want to like make my creamy, delicious treat. Like I don't know. I'm not in it because I'm like, ooh, I really need a strong coffee today. It's just like I don't know.
Oh, I
My
make coffees before work
quantities.
a lot because I need to not be miserable. It
Yeah, I mean,
depends.
the amount of like,
If I'm at home, I'm making it for a treat.
yeah, if I'm like having it, it's still the same amount of caffeine. It's just
Yeah.
like now my drink will last me because I'd make it and be done with it in like 2 minutes, and I don't drink my coffee like I don't drink things fast, so it's like I don't know, it
Mm.
just lasts me longer.
It depends on the day for me. Some days I can drink it so fast, like, and it's gone in a second, and other days I
It
cannot.
sits there.
Yeah, it sits there more often than
I
not.
think it's worth trying. I think it's amazing. I would never do it any other way.
Interesting. Interesting. I only have one more.
Oh my.
You have lots more to run
I
through?
have lots more.
My one more is also a food one, not that crazy to me, but I don't know if this is crazy. I don't think it's crazy. Whenever I make pasta, and I use like sauce that's like in a jar already, like I didn't make the sauce. You pour the sauce into pasta, blah blah blah. Then I just put like a splish of water in the jar and I shake the jar up and then I pour it in there so that I get all the sauce out of the jar.
True.
Life hack.
Yeah.
Get all your sauce out, get your money's worth. Not a crazy thing, but like, and it depends on the sauce because some sauce like it's not really worth it to do that. But like, if it's like a thicker sauce and you want that sauce,
Yeah. Or like milk.
yeah, you could do
Yeah.
milk too.
Yeah.
I do water a lot, but you could do milk. That is true.
Yeah, I've done that with things every now and then. My next one, I guess is kind of silly, but I found it very useful. If you have a bigger purse, this is something that I did for a work trip because I just wanted to pack and be prepared. I got one of those like days of the week medicine containers and
Mm-hmm.
I filled it with different medicines because my purse was big enough that it would carry it. Now I've downsized, so it's waiting in my old purse for me to come back to it. But I have like, it's like 7 little spots. So I usually do like Advil, Midol, allergy medicine, Tums, like just a little array of things so that I don't have like 7 bottles in my purse. I just have a
Yeah.
little, like a few of each one in this little like travel container.
Do you have them labeled or do you just know?
I just know.
Hmm.
And most of them say it. Like most of the ones I have
Oh,
in there
true, yeah.
say like it says like Midol or like Tums I know or I don't know.
You be getting the
There
name
has been
brand.
a couple times.
I be getting the off-brand medications.
I do too. But I just think it's nice. It's nice to have it because there have been multiple times since that I did that someone was like, "Oh, does anyone have?" I'm like, "Yes,
Mhm,
yes, I
mhm.
do."
Yeah, because I feel like I asked you one time or I needed something. I feel like I don't remember where we were. I
It's
don't
just
know.
nice.
It
I
is
like to have
nice.
it,
That is nice. I should do that.
and it doesn't like I was kind
Because
of
whenever
worried.
I'm really bad about whenever I bring medicine anywhere, I just know which ones are which because
Yeah.
I buy it and I use it. So like I just put it all in a Ziploc bag. And I remember being I remember in like high school, we'd be like on a trip or something, and people would be like, "Oh man, my head really hurts," and I'd be like, or like they'd be cramping or whatever. And I
Yeah,
just give it to them, and be like, "How do you know that this is what this is?" I'd be like,
because
"Trust
I
me,
take it.
just trust me."
Yeah,
And
I'm
they
not
would,
hiding
so
nothing.
I didn't hurt anyone. I don't think.
Yeah, it's nice. I like to be prepared also, but my next one is AMC A List.
That is a life hack.
It's a
I
life
still
hack.
have not partaken, but I
And
should.
I love it. I don't necessarily know that we will keep it after the move. I probably need to do more research realistically about seeing if we would use it and whatnot. But we got
No, why
we
wouldn't you?
we got it in like I don't know. I want to say maybe I guess it's been a while now. I was gonna say November, but we definitely have had it longer than that. Maybe we've had it like 6 months. We've had it under a year, but for a good few months now. And I love it. I think that it is so nice because realistically, we didn't go to the movies like super often before that. Only because it is kind of expensive. Like if you're sitting here like, oh, it'd be so fun to go to the movies. I'm like, I'm just kind of cheap. So I would just be like, no, like we could just watch something at home, whatever. And so we didn't go like crazy often. But one of the last times that we went before we got it, like there was a movie we wanted to see. We went to see it in theaters and we went on like I guess, a popular day. Like, I didn't go on a Tuesday at noon. It was like a Friday or Saturday, and like either at night or like Saturday during the day. And it was like $19 per person, like for the ticket, not including popcorn or anything. It was like $19 for each of us. And so whenever we went, they play the little thing. And I think like soon after that, I was like, maybe we should like, let's look into it, see what it's like because that was really pricey. And you look at it, because I had like the free version just to like, earn points or get a free popcorn on your birthday, whatever. And I looked at it and it was like $19. And so I'm like, it's to see 3 movies a week for free. And I'm like, I'm not going to see 3 movies a week for free. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that. I'm not going to claim that, like, it's worth it because I'm going to do this. No, if I go to the movies once a month, it has paid for itself. If I go more than that, I am reaping benefits. And it is something like, obviously you have to have like a certain level of financial stability. It's still like $40, $45 a month to like just not worry about. Like, if you just have it, we have it on auto pay, or maybe we paid it out at the beginning for like, I don't know what subscription, if it was monthly. I don't know what it is. But like, obviously there are people that cannot do that. But for us, it was something that I'm like, yeah, I won't really think about that. That's something I would spend on random stuff anyway. And it's just honestly really nice to have. I really like it. I love movie theater popcorn, and honestly, most of the times we go to the movie, it's still not free because most of the times I do want the popcorn. But, I'm not paying for the ticket, so that's one thing. But I just really like it. It makes going to the movies a lot less serious, which is fun. Like, we don't have to like
Love the
invest in going
movie.
into this
Yeah,
movie
it's
that
not
we're
as much as a
obsessed with.
commitment.
Yeah.
That's fair because going to the movies is expensive these days, and I feel like lately I have been disappointed. I'm like,
Yeah.
I spent $40 on this for me and Adam to go, and
Exactly.
it's like sucks. So.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not like it has to be a movie we're in love with. We don't have to like, oh, I'm only going to go since, I made plans with this friend. So like, I'll go for that. But like, no, it's just like we could go see any little movie. Doesn't really matter. And honestly, I do think we could take advantage of it more. But, either we're spending it because we want to cook at home, or we spend a night with my friends, or we spend a night with his friends. Like, we typically are doing other things, honestly. But like, we try to go a few times a month, and it's just so fun. It's like, it feels like, again, we have it on auto pay or something. Like, I don't sit and pay it each month, so it feels free. I know it's not, but it feels free. And it's just like, oh yeah, maybe we should go to the movies. And it's just fun to be like day of, not have to like really worry about it. And I love it. I don't know. I think that it's very fun. My next one's gonna sound really silly, and I'm not trying to out them, but I found out about it and I wrote it down. The Embassy, like the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
they do happy hour
Oh.
for hotel guests every day. But you don't have to say your room or anything. You can just walk in and participate in happy hour.
Wow.
Yeah. They like go in, I don't know, I want to say it's like 4 to 6.
How did you
And
find this out?
I knew people staying there. There was one person in the group that was staying there, and we all went to the embassy and had free wine for like 2 hours. Well, maybe that was a stretch. Honestly, we almost missed the close off. We went, I guess maybe like it was like 30 minutes. But it's free beer and wine, I think. Like, probably a red, a white, and maybe a couple options for beer. And I don't take advantage of this. I went that one time and I was like, this is crazy. I'm not a hotel guest and the drinks are free. That's crazy. But I wrote it down then, and I'm simply passing the information along. You can just go.
Do what you will with that.
Do what you will with the fact that they don't check your room or anything.
And you know what? That's really more on them than it is on you.
No,
So,
I know. I just thought it was crazy. I was like, for real?
yeah.
Because they said it's like it's happy hour. And I was like, I thought that was like, cheaper drinks or something. No,
Yeah.
free drinks.
That's crazy.
If you're not picky, go crazy. And I have 2 more. They're all silly. I'm so sorry. If you've listened to this whole episode, all my things are silly. But I put knitting on there. Life hack.
It is a life
Be
hack.
multitasking. I love it.
Also, make your own clothes.
Yeah, make your own clothes. Amazing. But like, I feel so productive when I'm able to multitask with knitting. And people that don't have anxiety about being productive, I guess this doesn't matter. That you can just sit there and chill and not matter. No.
No, you don't matter.
Sit there and chill and it not matter. But like, if I'm in the car, like if we got up on the weekend and we're like, we should go to Trader Joe's, and we have to like drive 45 minutes, I could be knitting.
Mhm.
I could be getting 2 things done at one time. Or even something as silly, like if me and Justin are playing a game and we're taking turns, and it's like 10-minute games. This is video game. If he's like playing his video game, like I can knit during mine. I don't just have to sit and watch him. Like, I can look up and we can be still hanging out, but like, I don't have to sit on my phone. I can knit. I don't know. I love getting things done, and it's nice. Like, it keeps you busy, keeps your hands busy. You're making something, you're having fun, being crafty, being creative. There's just so many perks to it, really.
Agree.
And lastly, though this has been mentioned in different ways, it's a life hack, and that's moving semi regularly so that you're going through stuff more often and not accumulating a lot. And I say a lot loosely, considering I am very attached to certain belongings. Like, it's hard for me to get rid of things sometimes. But, like, it is nice to kind of move. I don't want to say every year. That might not be very realistic for everyone, but like every couple of years, also like if you have your dream home, whatever. I'm just saying something that I have realized from being young and having lived. I lived at home, I lived in my college dorm, I lived in a townhouse, and I live in my apartment now, and I am moving again. From that time, it is nice to have to go through your stuff so that you're not accumulating stupid little things. Like, just the things you don't think about, like being forced to go through your junk drawer and like your kitchen or your office or like your bedside table, like little things that you're like, oh, I'll use this later. I'm really bad about the sentence, I'll use this later, or I'll want this later, or I'll need this later. Just like, I don't need to hold on to this stuff. And I think that moving is something that's kind of that forces me to go through things when in reality I kind of don't, because I have I just get anxious about being wasteful or like wanting it later or whatever it may be. But it is just nice to kind of use that as an excuse for like a fresh start, I think, to, I don't know, it may sound silly, but it has been helpful for me. It has been a hack for me.
That is a hack. If you're not someone who regularly goes through your stuff, then yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like everyone has a drawer, at the very least,
Yeah.
a drawer somewhere that does not get like the attention it needs, or like even silly things like travel toiletries. Like, I do not need all those. And like, if I was staying in the
Yeah.
same place, like it would feel wasteful to throw that away. But when you think about it, like, oh, am I really going to pack this up and move it? It's like, no, that is wasteful. Like the free stuff I brought home from the hotel one day. No, kick it out, girl. I don't know. It makes you kind of have to think about things more than I normally would. But I will leave you with that. Do what you will with my life hacks. Everyone's going to think I'm psychotic now.
I don't think you're psychotic.
Thank God.
Of course. Don't worry about it.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us and during another episode.
Enduring this horrible thing you had to do, listen to us talk. Yeah, thanks for hanging out and thanks for hearing all of our life hacks. We hope you use some of them, and we hope that we opened your eyes to some of the life hacks that you could be reaping the benefits from.
And please like and comment your life hacks.
Please.
We need more.
I'm always actually in the market for some more life hacks.
Yes, leave them. And honestly, you've probably judged ours. It's only fair. It's only fair we get to consider yours.
We get to see yours and know if yours are embarrassing or silly, because some of ours might be silly.
Yeah.
Except none of them are silly, and that they're all life hacks and they're all useful.
Yeah, they work for us. And that's really what matters.
That is really
It's something that works for you individually. If it doesn't work for everyone, so be it.
So be it. So true.
Okay, we will talk to you guys next week.
We will.
Love ya. Bye.
Tune in to the 14 Steps Away podcast every Monday for a new episode. Don't forget to like, comment, follow, rate, review, and share. Watch every week on Spotify or YouTube, and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.